Peace.
Peace.
This is Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering the cipher called Real2reel360. KYs.
Peace, God.
Bring that beat in, kid.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, party people? Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. Let's get it in. We do the knowledge and wisdom so you can understand. Real2reel360 shows in full command. We changing the game for how it all was taught. From bondage to freedom to an independent thought. Yo, the show is here to bring about a change for real. To lighten everyone so we all know the deal. 360 degrees is a fact. We created the show to give our love back to our communities so we can know what's going on and give them the support from knowledge to porn. So if you're ready to learn, then it's time to go. Sit back and relax and enjoy your show. Peace.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Sure enough.
But who am I?
Joshua Miller Law.
Who am I?
Joshua Miller Law.
I can't hear you.
Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD.
Peace to all our followers, likers, and subscribers. Thank you for tuning in for another great episode of Real2reel360. Today, we're going to have an impactful, information-full show today with a great individual, a legend that I consider a legend when it comes down to the business. 50 years of excellence. You cannot deny this man for what he has done for the music, for the awards, for the artists, for the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your hands together for Mr. Jesse Thompson. Let's go.
All right. Wow.
How you doing today, sir?
Oh, man, that's one of the best ones I've had in 50 years there, Dr. Mel. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, man.
I appreciate it, sir. Could you just introduce yourself to the followers, likers, and subscribers, if you don't mind, Mr. Thompson?
No problem. Again, my name is Jesse Thompson, president and founder of Jackson Music Awards. I'm originally from Macomb, Mississippi. That's about 76 miles from Jackson. I went to school there, obviously, and attended Jackson State University. Received my undergraduate degree there, attended graduate school there from 73 to 74. And after finishing graduate school, we actually started the JMAs. I'm married to Judy Thompson, who's vice president of our organization. We have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and we have 9 grandchildren. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. I've just had my grandkids here. They come over every Sunday afternoon, and I clear everything out. I think I was telling you that they'd be leaving at around 6. So I don't waste that time. I give them that time. So rest of the time I'm sacrificing. So I want to give them that time, because if you lose it, it's gone. Before you know it, they'll be grown and gone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Thompson, we was talking behind the scenes, and you started with the JMAs
right
74 years ago.
Oh, no, 50.
I mean, yeah, 1974. 1974. I'm sorry.
1974, yeah.
74, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, 1974.
Yeah.
And in 1974, I think your group used to get together every Monday.
Yeah.
And group of y'all used to get together every Monday and jam out every Monday. And
Right.
can you talk about that story of when y'all used to get together and then came up with the idea for the JMAs?
Yeah. Mondays, I was in a group called the Composers at the time. The group started at Jackson State University. It was a bunch of a vocal group similar to the Temps, OJs, and we had a band, a large band behind us. So all of the singers were members of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. My fraternity, we're in the fraternity together. But we would work the weekends. We would work Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and we had a base building that we stored our equipment and where we did our rehearsing, and was called the Club Checkmate. So on Monday nights, everybody was off. Nobody had anything to do, so we just had a jam session on Monday nights. And so we would come together, and my group would host it, and all the musicians in the city would come and sit in. All of the DJs in the city would come in, and it would be a bunch of people who are involved in the entertainment would be at that place. So I had the idea. I told my group, I said, "Hey, man, why don't we, since we're all here and everybody's off on Monday, why don't we show ourselves some love over the years and congratulate each other on what we do, and we'll all participate and lift up and honor one another and others that are in the industry." So that was a discussion that I had with my band and with Bobby Rush and the club owners of Club Checkmate, the two radio stations, two jocks that were involved with us at the time. One of the guys was named Joe Lewis, the other was named Carl Haynes. One was WOKJ, and another station WKXI, and Dick Dawkins, who also was on WOKJ at that time. Those guys sat down. We sat down with it, and we said, "Hey, we need to create some categories and some level of membership." So it was a peer. We based our association on the NARAS chapter, the Grammy chapter, National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. So we made applications for those who were involved in the music business to be the peers who would actually do the nominating and selections. And so, we didn't think anything about it that first year. We had a good time with it. We had 4 categories, and we kind of patted each other on the back, and that was kind of what it started off as. We had so much fun with that. The next year, we were talking about it, and we said, let's do it again. So, thus was born the coordinating committee formally, and the next award show, and it's been one ever since.
Now, with the award shows, that when we talk about 50 years and the ups and downs and the struggles to try to maintain it and keep it creditable and respectful and everything else, what was some of the biggest obstacles that you had over the 50 years trying to keep it and keep the integrity of the Jackson Music Award?
Well, some of the biggest challenges was just getting it organized, and of course getting it to where it was a legitimate organization. You have to take care of the business of it first. People don't realize, for any type of business to operate, just like your show, you have things that people don't see. Somebody's got to pay for the rent. Somebody's got to pay for this. Things cost money, and you haven't done anything. So the putting together the structure of it to ensure that the funding would be around to put on something like this, because nothing starts out where it needs to be. You have to be able to put your time into it, put your energy into it. So when we were able to get the organizational structure together, getting it incorporated, getting a formal board together, getting the city and the county to buy in, the state of Mississippi to give you its support. When those things were done, that was a pretty big hurdle to get that done. This was 1974, and I was just graduating from college, and just got married in 1975 when my wife and I got married. So that was a struggle. The second thing was getting people to understand and accept the concept of what we were doing. And some people didn't get it. You'd have people that would in anything that you do, you're going to have some negativity. You're going to have people that talk against you. You're going to have people that try to talk you down, and people that tell you the idea is not going to work. So those were a couple of the bigger challenges that we've had, and the third one was just what it is. 50 years, things change a lot. How do you adapt to change? How do you adapt to what's coming? And a lot of times you don't know what's coming. Have been around long enough to see a lot of different types of music come on the scene. We were around when hip hop evolved, and we were around when the whole blues, soul, or what some call Southern soul, and this whole thing kicked off. We were right in the middle of all that. So you have to be able to adapt to change, and the struggles were, in those three things I mentioned, and then getting the buy-in of the people, and being consistent. Those were the most difficult things to do. And again, when you don't have money, you've got to have favor, or you have to figure out how to get it done. We've always done big productions, and it's always been the type of event that people, that they can see that it's a lot of work that goes into it, but it costs money. And to do it on that level and to maintain it at that level, you have to be able to maintain a certain level of resources to make that happen. And fortunately, along the way, we've been able to keep enough of those things together, and we've been blessed, and there've been some great people along the way, some that are still here and some that are going on, that I have to give credit to, because we wouldn't be here if it was not for them. And as I was saying earlier, it's not all the time just money. The buy-in that we got back in the day, and as I was telling you, from groups like the Dramatics, the Manhattans, Tyrone Davis, Lil Milton Camel, Bobby Bland, Johnny Taylor, Dorothy Moore, all of those are Denise LaSalle, Betty Wright, Millie Jackson. I was talking to Millie the other day, and they came every year to the event. Their thing was, we're going to make this is our event, so we're going to help you make it happen, because we're the ones receiving all of the credit here. We're the ones getting the accolades. This is for us. The Grammys are not looking at us. Soul Train, all these other war shows, they don't care anything about us. But as Bobby was saying, JMA has been representing and recognizing him since the 70s, even though he just won a Grammy. That was one of his things that he treasured. So those were the kind of things that the obstacles that we had to get over to be able to maintain. But it was just things like that helped us to do that. And these were people who committed, and when you have people who support you, and when you have people that believe in what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier. And they're not the only ones. We had a lot of others. And again, it's just, I'm just grateful for it.
And I want to shout out to those that's making comments now. I don't know who's the Facebook user, but good evening. Thank you for tuning in. My light-skinned sister Tranisha, thank you. Che Williams, thank you for tuning in. When you initially started, it was to acknowledge artists that was in the state of Mississippi. And
Correct.
Now it has actually branched out. How was
you're on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to do my research.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
Try to, and so how do like branching out and pulling, and other artists coming from different areas receive being acknowledged at the JMAs?
Oh, look, they love it. I this is one of the things that I talked about, being able to adapt to change. As you say, we started out, it was just a handful of us, a group of local artists, and we would nominate each other and ourselves. As the industry started to grow, and our record companies locally became a lot more. They started to grow. Artists start coming to Jackson. We have one of the largest record companies, which is called the Last Soul Company, called Malico Records, that's still here in Jackson. When we started, there were 3 or 4 record companies here. Another one was called Ace Records. A guy by the name of Johnny Vincent was the owner of it, and he did a lot of rock and roll stuff. His camp is where Willie Clayton and Willie Clayton and TK Soul and Andre Lee and Rob the Duke Tillman, where all those guys, and Pat Brown, they all came out of that record label. And of course, with Malico, that's where the ZZ Hills, and this is how Tyrone Davis and Lil Milton Campbell and Denny Sassell, they started bringing all these artists in. So as our industry locally started to grow, we had to grow with it, because now we have people from Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta, Texas that were now a part of the Jackson music scene. So in order to include them, we branched out. We had to branch out to include those. Now, that's good. That's a really good question, because as we applied for our federal 501c3, one of the basis of us receiving that tax-free, tax-exempt designation was to do things locally based on the music art in the state of Mississippi. So we do continue to have some categories that are limited to just Mississippi artists, but we branched out in gospel, we branched out in jazz, we branched out in of course in R&B, to include a lot of other artists from other places.
Now, I know that there was a conversation I think you had with your son about the community work, and how receptive was the community to supporting and backing the JMAs.
Right, and that was something that we definitely need. If you don't have your local community supporting what you do and backing you and believing in you and what you do, you might as well forget it. But fortunately, our local community still recognizes the value of what we do and look forward every year to what we're doing to advance the image of our city and entertainment and the entire state. So it was really interesting to see that they say a man is without honor if he doesn't have it in his own hometown, and so
Right.
a lot of times you don't get it. But for us, and surviving for 50 years, we've had that local commitment. I just love the city of Jackson. From the beginning, we carried the name, and the city has supported us through different mayors, council people, boards of supervisors, even in the state legislature. Now we still have that support. So it's just a good feeling. And you asked the question, how do you keep going? That's one of the ways we keep going, because of the local support that the leaders here in the city and in the state value what we're doing, and they encourage us to continue, and they work with us to make sure that we have the resources to continue to do what we do.
Now, Ms. Williams asks, what is the criteria for the nominations of an artist? Is there a certain quota of sales, media, plays, or etc. of their music? How you doing, Yolanda?
Yeah, it's according to what category it is. There are different category descriptions in our recording categories. The criteria is airplay, streaming, downloads. If you go on our website, you see we list those sites where you can actually go and look at the charts. Most people don't have access to Mediabase, which and every radio station is not a member of it, but we do have access to that information, and we can see what recordings are actually getting that type of play. So when you're nominated in a recording category, we have to look at that matrix. We have to look at the airplay combined with the sales, and then it's the overall popularity. And if each one carries so much weight, and that's how you get nominated. In the other categories, if it's not a recording category, it's basically going to be popularity, how many votes you get from our association membership. Our membership consists of industry professionals. If you go to our website, you can click on a link that says join the JMA, and there's an application that comes up that you can fill out and complete, and a membership fee that you pay every year of $20 to be a voting member, and you'll participate in the balloting process. So the thing is, how many people know who you are, you know, in the non-recording categories, and even in the categories where we get into, say, the King Mo's Memorial Award, which is based off of a local band leader that supported local entertainment. This is someone that gets out and just supports the industry. Well, even someone like that, you know, the criteria is totally different. So, and then you have to make sure that the people that we're nominating, that if it's a local category, make sure that they meet that criteria. But if it's a national category, then the criteria kind of changes a little bit. So I can't give you, it's not a one size fits all, but it all starts with getting nominated by our association members, which is open to anybody in the industry. And a lot of people are not aware of that, but you can become a voting member. Now, that's the voting categories. Now we have other categories that are done different ways. We have a statewide announcer category that we do, which is done totally by public vote, where the participants advertise on their station, and their people go to our website, and they vote for them electronically. We have the same thing locally, so this is a different criteria for those awards. So, but it all boils down to, and I get inboxed all the time. How do I get nominated? How do I get nominated? How can I be nominated for JMAs? Well, the first thing is join the association, get as many of the people as in your organization, record company, radio stations. That's what we have here. You know, one of our largest voting blocks in JMA is Malaco Records. They are big record companies, so they have a whole staff of people. The next one is Alpha Media, which is 3 radio stations, WKXI, WJMI, and WOAD. All of their people are voting members. So those are large voting blocks. So, so what I'm saying is, that's the first step in getting nominated, is making sure our members nominate you. So, and we've gone through a third of that process right now with nominations. It finished up on Friday. This is where all of our voting members send in their applications. Now we're going into the second phase, which will be the screening process, where the committee will actually verify all the nominees in every category, where we'll come up with the nominees. So it's not done then, because after we do that, you have a final ballot that goes back out to the voting membership again, and they vote on the final ballot, which comes back to us, that the committee has to screen and certify. So that, in a nutshell, that's the process. I know that I hope I answered the question. I know it's not as easy to explain all of it, and I hope they got to the root of the question that he had. I don't know who asked.
That was Miss Williams, Miss Shay Williams.
Okay.
And she said very interesting, and thank you for your response. And you answered the next question that she had for you.
Okay. Oh, did she? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, look, and I say this too. 601-862-6629, 601-862-6629. If you don't want to ask me anything, I'm one of the easiest people in the world to get to. I don't mind how people calling me. So
okay.
So 601 Daryl tells me all the time. Daryl said, "Man, I'm out here. These guys, they said there's some people wanting to talk to you, and they said, I said, Darryl, I'm the easiest person in the world to talk to. You don't have to go through nobody to talk to me. Just call me. So I mean, there are times that people call a number, Joshua, they'll call a number, and I'll answer, and they say, "Is this you?" I say, "I think so." They said, "Well, I didn't expect to talk to you." I said, "Well, who did you call?" "No, I called you." I said, "Well, what?" Said, "No, what I meant was I thought I would have to go through a lot of people to get you." "No, you don't." 601-862-6629. Call me. If I don't, if I'm in a meeting, if I'm doing in the studio, leave your number. I call everybody back. And they say the same thing. Wow, thank you for responding. I'll answer. It may not be the answer you want, you looking for, but I'm going to tell you. I will tell you the truth, and I'll about this organization. I can tell you what it is, and so yeah, call me. I hope if anybody you had listening, write the number down. If you want to call me later, I'll be glad to talk to you in detail about some other things. As long as I got time. If I got to get up and do something, we can get back. We can hook back up. But I don't mind talking. Yeah.
Now, they were expecting the receptionist to answer what Williams said. They wasn't expecting to speak to you.
Yeah, it was such a reception. Well, we're low budget. Look, even though we do things, it's kind of, no, I don't have a receptionist. I had to eliminate that. We have a small staff. If you ever come by our office, you would think that we have a huge operation, but it's not. It's just a small handful of people, myself, and on a day-to-day basis. But we have a huge committee of people that actually do these events. Yeah, and this is now. You may come to a JMA event, and you may never see me. You may never come in contact with me. I know I talk to people beginning of the year when we put the shows together, and they'll get to the event and they'll leave, and they said, I saw you, but I didn't get a chance to see you. And that's kind of the way it goes, because we have so many dedicated people and talented people that make these things happen. And I thank God for them, because there's no way that I could do it without them. But there are a lot of people involved. But on a day-to-day basis, it's kind of us, and we want it to be that way. I think it's better when someone can call and they can talk directly to me and get the answer that they need. And hopefully they'll start supporting us.
Now, Mr. Thompson, being that you've been here for 50 years, and how does it feel when someone tell you that the JMAs is the staple for the Black Award Show?
It humbles me, and I'm not saying this to be, but I hear that all the time, and I hear artists will say that. I hear radio station people, promoters, writers, and they'll say, "Hey, man, we're just so proud of what you guys do, that you all are it. You all are our Grammys. We know the Grammys doesn't recognize Southern Soul yet, but you said, but you all are our Grammys." Similar to what Bobby Rush said. Yeah, I got a Grammy, but JMA has been recognizing me since the 70s. But it does. It almost does. And it, when you asked earlier, how do you keep going? How do you continue to do it? It's stuff like that, when, and it's just like you were saying earlier, and I've had other people tell me this, say, if I could be recognized by the JMA, I think it legitimizes me. And I had a businessman, a guy that's been in this business, everybody knows, and it just shocked me to hear that, when he was so concerned that he had never been acknowledged by the organization the way he wanted to be, and he was pouring out, and he said, this is the organization that legit is nobody else established like this. And he said, I wanted this. I want this. And I was like, man, this is such a blessing. So we're very guarded with how we use that. You know, it's not something we use in a negative way. It's not something we use to take advantage of people. Uh, we use it in a way that we can build people up. We want to build you up. We want to encourage you because we want you to continue to do what you're doing. Um, there's so much talent out there. I I receive so much music every day that comes in on our spotlight database where artists, new artists, established artists are sending us the music that they're putting out, and it's some good stuff. And it's just room for everybody out there. So we want to use our organization as a platform to just encourage and build people up. And and so when I hear that, it as I said, it humbles me, and it encourages us to continue to do what we're doing and make a difference in someone's life. I've had people to call me and thank me for what JMA has done for them that I didn't even know that we touched them in any way. But when we've been blessed to be around as long as we have, so that we don't ask you for anything. You know, we look at what you're doing and we'll honor you. You know, we'll nominate you. If you and we'll actually if our committee feels like you're deserving of the award, we give it to you. We don't ask you to do anything. You don't have to do anything for it. You don't even have to be a member of the a voting member of the organization. Just be in the business. If you're in there, you fit that. We and if and there are some people that won't even come to the event, and we send them their award. And I have some of my supporters say, I wouldn't send them nothing if they can't come to get it. But no, this is, I'm serious, you know, with us, you know, if we nominate you, if our people select you, we'll notify you and you'll be aware of it. You can send a representative or you can come yourself. We're not going to withhold that honor from you because you don't show up. You'll still get it. And so, so we are, again, that just those type statements by artists, and not so much as someone saying, well, you all the staple, you all the godfathers. There's so many terms that we've been referred to as, but all of those things just keep us uplifted and encourage us to keep going. And one of the things that we're doing right now, we're working on transition. I'm not the youngest guy in the world anymore, and neither are a lot of people on our committee. And we're working through our the transfer of institutional knowledge so that the organization can go on another 50 years. And that I don't want to be a part of anything that died when I die. I want it to continue because it needs to continue to be a blessing for other people. If it was good enough to sustain through these years, there need to be some other people that get blessed by the same opportunities.
Right. And I want to say this because I don't want nobody to think nobody's slighting anyone else, because the ZBTs and the AMG Awards, they're great organizations and they do a great job acknowledging artists as well. I think the ZBTs is going into its third year. AMG's is over 10. But to be a staple in the awards scene, you have the JMAs and the BMAs. And I salute all the awards shows that are out there that are acknowledging artists for their hard work. Now, Mr. Thompson, what is was the idea of acknowledging the barbershops, the beauty salons, the restaurants, the school teachers? Because reason why I said that, because I noticed that I don't know, I can't say he did, I can't say he didn't, but it seems like when there was the Hoodie Awards with Steve Harvey, he kind of took that blueprint, you know what I mean, of acknowledging the barbershops, the restaurants, the teachers, the churches, and things of that nature.
Yeah, let me tell you how that came about. the barbershops and beauty shops. My nephew, Rodney, I have a nephew by the name of Rodney, and Rodney is a video guy. He does music videos for a lot of the groups and artists and a lot of the hip hop artists that work out of here. He now works for Mississippi Department of Archives and History as one of their videographers. But I was talking with him about how we could expand the reach of the awards and what we were doing. And he said, Uncle, I think what you need a way to bring into the barbershops, the beauty shops, restaurants, the nightclubs. I said, well, wait a minute, why would? He said, because they are part of entertainment. They're part of entertainment. He said, all the artists that perform at your shows, they go somewhere to get their clothes. They go somewhere to get their hair done. They, we are popular for soul food restaurants. And I thought about that, and I always ask questions of people to see what they think, because again, that's the way you learn, that's the way you grow, and especially ask the younger people, and that's where the idea of that came about. But it helps instill here again. It instills and lifts up people. You mentioned the churches. After we had been together for 4 years doing JMAs, we had a music director at that time. His name was Don Terry Thickpen. He ran a music school here, and one of his things was being on our committee. He told me he would serve as our music director if we would look at doing a gospel award show at some point. So once we started, out of a commitment to him and what he thought, we started the MGMA, which is the Mississippi Gospel Music Awards, which is going into its 46th year. So Don Thickpen was a heck of a musician and visionary. A lot of his nephews, his wife is the director of Mississippi Mass Choir now, and and all of his family sings in that choir. His nephews actually play in our band at the JMA. They play for the Blues Is All Right tour. They're some heck of a musicians. Matter of fact, there's one house between me and their house. They live down the street, so I can wave at them from my house. But that's how the gospel, how we branched into the gospel piece. And now with gospel awards, we not only do with choirs, we have pastor of the year honorees with our gospel division. We have women in gospel honorees that we have every year. And as I was saying earlier, our gospel event is a totally different event that takes place the night before the JMAs. So the MGMA take place on Sunday, and then on Monday night, we have JMAs. And then on Saturday night, we have a new award show that we started last year called The City with Soul Celebrates. And we're doing some outstanding things there too. So we're having a award show Saturday night. We have 4 award shows altogether. City with Soul Celebrates. Then we have the City with Soul Awards, which is the barbershops, the beauty shops, the restaurants, Mississippi Gospel Music Awards, and we have Jackson Music Awards. And we touch several genres in the Jackson Music Awards: jazz, pop, hip hop, and country.
Now, was it ever a period in time when Southern Soul and Blues wasn't affiliated with Jackson Music Awards?
There's never been a time. Blues was always a part of JMA, because at our first JMA, we had a guy around here named Bobby Rush that everybody knows about. Then we had Malaco Records, who was putting out a lot of blues. We had a guy by the name of McKinley Mitchell, who was a big blues artist at that time.
Right.
So they were a part of it, and the transition of what a lot of people call Southern Soul right now is just evolved out of the blues thing. It wasn't blues, but it was something more contemporary. And this is where we are now with what is being termed Southern Soul. We just call it soul because that's what it is, soul music. But
Right.
apparently, it's kind of catching on. Anytime you can see huge audiences in California jumping up and down for our uh, Southern Soul concert. The Blues is All Right tour is doing quite well, and it only has Southern Soul artists on it. So the term Southern Soul is being pretty much accepted, even though there are a lot of the professionals, I call them in the business, don't want to regionalize it by calling it Southern. But I don't think it doesn't seem to have hurt it at all.
No, no, it don't. It don't seem to have heard it because you got a lot of great artists in Southern Soul, and
Right.
that was the question. My next question is, what is the things that a lot of these Southern Soul artists that you come amongst you ask you about the JMA?
What do the artists ask? Well, most of the Southern Soul artists, pretty much they, when they hear of the event, that basically they want to know about nominating procedures. Those are the questions that they have. They want to know, hey, how do you do this? Or they have recommendations about other artists, and most of them like to help out. Let put it that way. They like to help out. Say, well,
Right.
so and so should have been in that category, or why so and so wasn't in that. So we those are basically the things that the artists are asking about for us, the JMAs. But I get a lot of questions from Southern Soul artists on just the business of music, and there's a lot of things that we talk about of how we want to figure it out. The industry has changed tremendously. Uh, the people who are just coming into the business have no recollection of how we used to do it. They don't know about how distribution used to work. They don't know how personality radio used to work. They don't know about mom and pops and record distributors. They don't know about that because that's not something that was in their lifetime. So the industry has changed a lot. So for the artists that have been around a long time, when I talk with them, we're talking more business of, hey man, how can I make more? How can I make more of the dollar? Those are the kind of questions we get. How can we get paid more for what we do? What things in the industry, need to happen? And so it's more business with the established artists. But of course, the newer artists are the ones who are looking for more guidance, and we don't mind that either. How do you think I need to do this? Or I want to do it this way. Can you help me? Can you refer me to somebody that can help me with this, help me with that? So that's basically what we get from the artists, and most of them, when they call, won't know why I haven't spotlighted the records yet. So, so what am I get on? I know when Tucker was here last year, he said, "Man, when he did the record with King George. They did the day after he was here, that month, Tuesday after the JMAs, he released his song with King George, where he redid it with a duo with King George, and we
Yeah.
spotlighted that week. He said, "Man, that's the quickest spotlight I ever got." I had to get
Well,
King
Miss
George
Williams,
on my record.
Miss Williams said when you mentioned Malaco Records, the names that come to her mind are Johnny Taylor
Yep.
and Marvin C.
Yep.
Those are the first two names that come to her mind. And shout out to Mr. Midnight Southern Soul, sir. Now, when we talk about nominations and things, are there nominations for promoters, DJs, things like that?
Sure. We last year was our first year for our Promoter of the Year category, and we're going to do it again because of the response that we got. So New Planet Ray, can call Ray's last name. He was a he was the first recipient of that award.
Ray Ramsey.
Ray
Ramsey.
Ramsey, yeah, over there. He had Kang 803, and he's got Bad Girl and Frank, yeah, he got
Frank
all those
Johnson
guys.
and Lamar,
Right,
Lamar Brace and all of them. Yeah.
right, yeah. So he was our first recipient, and we're gonna do it again, and it's done on public vote. Now this is one, earlier we had a question about how people nominated. So the way this one works is we will have a list of promoters, and we'll put it out. Say, if you're a promoter of the year, we put it on our social media page. That's one thing I love for everybody to do. Please follow our page and keep up with what we're doing. And there's a lot of information there. But we'll post it, and you can send us in your recommendation for a promoter in your area, no matter where you are. It's not regionalized. It could be in Japan if he's promoting over there, wherever. But it's a public vote, and so we'll put together the list of nominees, and we'll have a section that says if you don't see your favorite promoter, you can add them in. So we try to include every promoter because we may not know everybody. So we'll put it out. The tab will be on our website, and you can have any promoter can have his fans and his supporters or her supporters contact them, go online and vote for them.
Now, with the help of the internet, how do you see that doing the Jackson Music Awards have changed and grew?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing that it's done. It's given us access that we have never had before. We are able to reach so many people every day. We have like 18,000 followers on our page. We can put your music, we can touch so many people around the world really quick, and that's a huge advantage. It helped us with our nominating procedures. We've changed everything to electronic now, so people can cast their votes all electronically now into electronic database. It does all the, it's just amazing the technology that's available right now. So what's available now with internet and the other, what we're doing right now. This is stuff that is unheard of, so it has made it so much easier for promoters and for what we do to be able to touch people every day. We touch people 3 and 4 times a day, different groups, and we share our information with these groups around the country, and you can touch so many people so easily, and we do that every day. We're touching with our spotlights, with our other posts. We're touching people constantly, and that's something that was just unheard of back in the day when we started this. You either were on the radio, or you were in the newspaper, or in a magazine. Now, all those things I just mentioned, other than radio, it takes time to get them. You got to print something, and you got to send it out, and people got to read it. I can sit here right now and do a group text or send an email blast, constant contact. It's unbelievable, and of course we couldn't. I just wish we would have had these type things available for us back when we were doing the things that we were doing.
Yes, sir. Now, Howard Harris, salute to you. Appreciate you coming in. He wants to know how he can nominate an artist.
If you're not a voting member, you can't nominate an artist. All of our nominations are done by our voting members, and to become and pay that membership fee. So now I gave my number. Now we have a screening committee. If you just want to talk to me and there's somebody you think that is deserving of a nomination, call me. I get that too. I get people who are not members, voting members, and everybody wants, hey, so and so, put it on my mind, yeah, send it to me. Of course, I can share that with the committee at some point.
Mhm.
If you know an association member, we don't publicly put out their contact information,
Mhm.
but you'll be surprised who some of the people are that are active voting members. And if you know one, tell them to nominate you. I mean, it's not a. I would do what I would do if I was an artist and I was trying to get nominated. If I was not a voting member, I would put it on social media and I would target. Uh, I would target JMA. Share it with JMA and get it out there and say, "Yay, nominate me! I think I'm worthy of a nomination." Invest that in yourself. It doesn't. I just talked about how easy it is now to do stuff electronically. All you got to do is
Mhm.
take the time to do it. It ain't gonna cost you any money, but I
Right.
would do that. I would actually, if it's a recording, if you want to get it to our members, send it to us, and if we put it on our spotlight, the voting members will hear it.
Mhm.
It don't matter whether it was on if it's on the radio or not,
Mhm.
but they'll hear it and
Mhm.
they'll vote. So again, that we have a lot of artists out there and promoters out there who are association members who actually participate in the process. As I said, you'll be surprised, uh, you know, how many people are involved if you just start
Right.
asking, and they may tell you. I hope that's the answer. Now, this is how you become a voting member. We're in the middle of the process now, but you can become a voting member. You go to our webpage and you click on Join the JMA, and an application will come up. And you complete that application and apply for membership. Now, if you become a voting member in the middle of the process, obviously you can only vote for whatever is left. And if it's over, it rolls over to next year. So
Mhm.
most people don't join in the middle of the process. But if you would like to get your application in, go to our website, click on Join the JMA. It's easy. All you need is legitimate involvement in the music and entertainment industry. The
Mhm.
bar has been set really low, okay?
Mhm.
And you just got to have a reference for somebody that we could say, hey, man, this guy, that's real. You know him? Yeah. Is he in the business? Does he have a podcast? Oh, yeah, I know him. Okay, yeah, good. So
You,
so the bar is real.
I'm just
The
waiting
bar is
on the
real low.
podcast category. You know what I mean?
I
I'm
know
waiting
you
on that
asked me about
podcast
that.
category.
Yeah,
I'm waiting on that
yeah.
category. You know,
Yeah,
I'm waiting on that category.
yeah.
You know what I
Okay,
mean? Because
okay.
there's a lot of us out here. There's a lot of us out here.
What?
Some great shows. Not only just mine. Is Queen Thickums has one. Lady Coco has one.
Right.
Shantice has Thunder Wine and Blues. You know what I mean? You have a bunch of different podcasts out here, and I think that all the above are worth acknowledging. So not just myself, you know what I mean? I don't want to seem selfish, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
just waiting on our category, waiting on our
Yeah.
category to come, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's a lot of great individuals that do a lot of great podcasting and talk shows.
You're right, and Josh Mel, just what you just said
I had
is
to put that
how
out
we
there
have. Yeah, but just what you just said, and it's not a selfish thing. You remember I said earlier we started with 4 categories. We got
for.
29 now. You know how I got to
Yes,
29?
sir.
Just for what you
How?
just said. Hey man, why we don't have this? Hey, why you don't have this? Why you don't have this? And so that's how it got that way. And so
Mhm.
yeah, we never had a promoter category, but Daryl Simmons, you all had Daryl on your show
Yeah,
before.
shout out.
And
Hmm.
I watched that show with Daryl. We're real proud of Daryl and what he brings to the table.
Hmm.
But Daryl's out there with them on a weekly basis, and he sees the promoters, and they were asking him, "Hey, man, what about this promoter category?" And that's
Hmm.
how it kind of came about because people was mentioning it to Daryl, and we have other board members that come to the meetings and say, "I was talking to this artist. Why don't we have a songwriter, or why don't we have a video, or why don't we have this and that?" And we do the feasibility, and we find that yeah, it's a
Hmm.
legitimate It's a legitimate thing. There are a number of them that are contributing. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's how it happens. We don't miss much, but again,
Mhm.
we're not perfect, and we're not ashamed to say we're not perfect. Even after
Mhm.
50 years, we're not perfect. Uh,
Mhm.
but we do a pretty good job. We're pretty thorough. But I hear you. I hear you on the podcast.
But you know, 50 years, how do you keep the integrity? How do you keep the integrity? How do you keep that standard of JMAs and exceed it every year?
Just like I just said, when somebody asks you a question, you give them the right answer. You give them the answer, and you're consistent with it. This is how we do it. This is the procedure that we use, and this is what we follow, and we stand behind our decisions 100%. We're not perfect. We might be 80, 85%, 90 sometimes. We're never 100, we're
Mhm.
never perfect, but that's how we've been able to maintain our credibility. We do what we say, and we say what we do. I don't change the story for you. I don't change the story for the artist. You may want to answer. I don't try to anticipate what you want the answer to be. I simply tell you how it is. And once you know what it is, you know the truth. If you have a suggestion or a concern, and we voice those concerns, then maybe we can adjust it. But that's how we do it, and that's our policy. If you get nominated, you win an award, you won it. The 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 people, the recipient can be somebody that dog cuss us or say, I whatever, we don't care.
Uh-huh.
We
Right.
stick with what we do because that's how we
Mhm.
maintain our credibility. If our association membership believes that you're worthy of a nomination, you go through our committee uh, screening. If you
Mhm.
meet our metrics and we select
Mhm.
you, we stand behind it, and
Mhm.
we don't ask you anything. We're not going to call the artist and ask them anything because they have nothing to do with it. This is something that we're doing to enhance them,
Mhm.
So, uh, and we stick to it for 50 years. We stuck to the same
No.
process, and there's nobody that's been involved with this organization that knows about it, and they can tell you that's how we maintain it. You may not like how we do it, and we
Mhm.
may change some of how we do it, but we're
Mhm.
not all over the place, and it's not a thing for me. You only know me because I got to be pulling some of the screws and stuff. So it's not a selfish thing for me. It's not
Mhm.
who I like or who I dislike. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
I represent the organization, and it's not a it's not a selfish thing for me. And
Mhm.
people that when I started this thing, 50 years ago, as I said, I was just out of college. I ain't had a dime. I didn't have a
Mhm.
quarter. And we were able to do what we have done and grow from nothing, and that was because of credibility. And that's how we can you imagine if the radio stations and the record labels and the promoters and the artists that were in this market, if they didn't have our respect,
Mhm.
we would have crumbled years ago. The city, the state, if we didn't have the respect of those pillars, we would have nothing.
Mhm.
So that's how we
Right.
that's how we maintain our integrity. Tell it that's what I want you to tell. That's why I'm that way. I'm going to tell you the truth,
Mhm.
and from that point, you can make up your mind. You may not like it, but this is the truth, and
Mhm.
that's how we do business. When people come to us, when we have vendors that we have to get these things done. For
Mhm.
50 years, there's nobody in this city that ever contracted with us that did not get paid. That's the thing you're gonna worry about. When you run a business,
Right.
somebody didn't get paid. You didn't do that. Nobody can tell you ever with this organization in 50 years that we didn't pay them. That's a simple thing, but that's where
Mhm.
your credibility starts there. I hear so many people and artists talk about promoters. and
Mhm.
they'll talk to me about it. I don't have an opinion, but when they start, those are the kind of things that, I'm not going to do this because of this and that and that. Well, I don't chime in either way, but to answer your question, to maintain that integrity, that's what I instill in my staff. That's the way I live it. That's the way I operate it. Be upfront and honest with everybody, and stick to the mission.
Now, Howard Harris had a question. He want to know, what about performing for the award show? What is the criteria to get someone to perform for the Jackson Music?
That's another one that one size doesn't fit all. It's kind of what we think. The show is not just about performances because there's so
Mm-hmm.
much else going on, but we want to be entertaining. One of the things that I try to do is present different talent that people can see. Everybody is not on the Blues Is All Right tour, but they're great artists. They're
Right.
somebody that people need to see. And when I hear their music and the committee hear the music, we say, hey, this artist needs to be on stage. We need to let people hear them. Gospel night, or we need to let them hear them on Monday night. I remember a kid I called him a kid. A guy came to me years ago. His name was Mel Waiters. He said, man, I want to be on JMA. I said, what do you do? Yeah, he sent me some of his music. I said, okay. I put him on the show. Malaco Records saw him there. They signed him. Oh, they signed him from seeing him on the JMA, and that's how Mel Waiters got to Malaco.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that.
No, I definitely didn't. But
Yeah.
we're coming to the end, but I want to make sure that people understand the day, the time, and where the location will be for the JMAs, how they can purchase their tickets for the show, and
Okay.
if they need to contact you again, how they can reach you.
Okay. Let me give everybody this www.jmaainc.com. jmaainc.com. Jackson Music Awards Association Inc.com. On our website, all the information is there. You can click on JMA tickets and you can get tickets for the event. When the front page rolls up, you've got the dates of the awards, and there's also a link on our front page for our host hotel, Westin Hotel, that if you want to, if you come in, if you want to stay overnight and you need your accommodations, you can go to the Westin. The event is going to be held on Monday, July the 29th. It's going to start at 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Jackson Convention Center Ballroom. It's on Pascagoula Street. And you can get tickets on our website electronically. Just click on JMA tickets. You'll see the other award shows under the ticket tab, but you can pick out your seats. There are still seats left in the front section and the VIP section. So there's still some on kind of on the sides, but the choices are going to get more limited as we go. So I would encourage you, if you want to get I don't think there are bad seats in the place, but a lot of people like to be as close to in the front as they can possibly be. So get your tickets on the website. Tickets are $30, VIP, reserve, $20 general admission. Use unheard of prices. And the day of the show is $40 and $30. Okay. And let me give you my phone number. The phone number to again the JMA 601-862-6629. 601-862-6629. If I don't answer, please leave a message. I'll get right back with you. And if you're not, I think everybody now knows how to buy electronic tickets. We've been doing that forever. So, but if you have issues with that, we can actually help you through that process. We don't mind doing that either. Is that it? I think I answered that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right.
That
Thank
was
you.
it. That was it. But I wanna say to you, thank you. It was an honor and a privilege to have you on Real 360. Um, and that anything that we can do to help promote the JMAs or anything else that you have going on in Jackson or anywhere else, please do not hesitate to reach out because we'll definitely help bring you back. This is, as my brother would say if he was here, this is not a home away from home. You're now home and family when it comes to Real 360. And we really appreciate you for coming over.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna send you all our stuff now. You on my list, so
All right,
uh,
bet that. Send it all to me.
yeah.
Send it all
This
to me.
this is one thing I want all the artists and everybody listening to me right now. This is one thing we never ask you for anything, but we're gonna ask you for something for the 50th. This is what I want you to see you do.
Mhm,
If you're in this business, if you're
mhm,
in the business, show up on July 29th because this is for you. People that are there do what you do. You
mhm,
need to be there. Show up for the 50th. If you've ever been nominated for Jackie, if you've ever been nominated, I'm not talking about you won. I don't want to hear. If you were ever nominated for an award, buy a ticket and come out and support an organization that's been supporting you for as long as you've been in the business. Because Bobby Rush is like probably the oldest guy we got right now. And we've been supporting him ever since he's been in business. So I don't think any of you are as old as Bobby. So so get your ticket. If you've ever won a Jackie,
uh-huh,
you need to be there. For 50 years, you paid nothing for it. If you won a Jackie, you definitely need to be there. If you have ever been an honorary recipient in any way at this event, you need to be there to support this organization for one time, for 50 years. Let's pack out this place and show people that our music is worth celebrating and our artists are worth celebrating. We want to make it a night to remember. We're celebrating the best of the best. The Barcades, Bobby Rush, Benny Lattimore, Dorothy Moore, Lenny Williams. Those are golden honorees. These people are staples in the industry. Come out and support these honorees, and we're gonna really put some outstanding young performers on you. We got Cecily Wilburn, Bree Wooden. We've got the Real S. Dot. We got the orchestra. It's going to be a music, and this is just a touch of it. It's going to be a
mhm.
music-filled, entertaining evening. Okay, I'm done.
That's Hey, just stick around for for a little bit afterwards, and I'll be able to let you go, Mr. Thompson. But thank
Okay,
you
all
again
right.
for coming on. This has been Real 360, and thank you all who've been watching on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We definitely appreciate you. Thank you.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we starting to come to the end of the show. Right now, I want to take the time out and thank our guests for coming on. Also, too, we want to make sure that y'all listening and subscribing and tell a friend and keep sharing because we're going to keep bringing y'all the real content. You know what I mean? So, DJ K-Wise, my brother, take us up out of here, son.
True indeed, true indeed. I want to give a big shout out to the nation of guards and nurses. To all the human families on the planet Earth, I say peace. But to our subscribers, those who continue to watch and listen to the show each and every time we come on, I give a big shout out of love, peace, and happiness to you. The beast of man, woman, and child of the you and I verse. It's time for us to disperse. We bring the best, not the worst. We thank you once again for tuning in to the Real 360. Bring a friend to hit that like and subscribe so we continue to grow to bring more knowledge and wisdom to you. Upon our show, you make it possible for us to do what we do. Now it's time I end it just the way I bring it.